Let's fly with Captain Tappers.
A very good morning from Edinburgh Airport. Today we are flying from Edinburgh to Newcastle. I've just completed the walk around and it's time to hop into the flight deck. So without further ado, let's take a look at our flight plan for today. Flying time of just 30 minutes, 90 nautical miles. This will probably be one of our shortest flights on our tour, so no beverages or meals today.
Captain, we're ready for boarding.
Thank you, Chelsey. Those of you who have been on board with us before, we know that at Tappers Airways we pride ourselves on our quick getaways. So we are aiming for an 11:55 departure this morning. Let's check the weather for our departure.
Echo Golf Papa Hotel Airport Information Mike 1120 Zulu Weather Wind 002 at 3 Visibility 3 Sky Clear Temperature 11 Dew Point 9er QNH 1034 Advice on initial contact. You have information Mike Echo Golf Papa Hotel Airport Information.
Hello.
So we have a wind of just 3 knots, a visibility of 3 miles and clear skies. So let's request our clearance.
Edinburgh ground Tappers 1746, this type IFR to Newcastle, ready to copy.
Hi.
Tappers 1746 is cleared to Newcastle Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 5000. Departure frequency is 121.2, squawk 0673.
Welcome aboard.
And acknowledge.
Tappers 1746 cleared to Newcastle Airport as filed. Fly runway heading, climb and maintain altitude 5000. Departure on 121.2, squawk 0673. Tappers 1746, correct. Contact ground on 121.7.
Flight plan is loaded into the FMC, and now I'm going to do something I should have done in my other flights, and that's check the fuel is loaded. The correct fuel is on board. Mustn't forget to pressurise the cabin, and now I need to do my captain bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome on board this Tappers Airways flight to Newcastle. My name is Captain Tappers. This morning with me on the flight deck at the moment is nobody, as we haven't employed a first officer yet.
Maybe I shouldn't have told the passengers that I'm the only one in the cockpit today.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Okay, it's time to go. So let's ask for permission to taxi.
Edinburgh ground Tappers 1746 with information Papa. Request taxi IFR. Tappers 1746, taxi holding point for runway 6 via taxiway Echo Alpha. Contact tower on 118.7 when ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of your captain and crew, we welcome you aboard and we hope you enjoy the flight.
And acknowledge.
Taxi holding point for runway 6 using taxiway Echo Alpha Tappers 1746.
So if we have a quick look at the airport chart, you can see we're at gate 102. We need to go up Echo and all the way along Alpha, and that should take us to runway 6.
Once again, Captain Tappers and the crew would like to welcome you on board this Beechcraft B1900D for a flight to Newcastle. Our flight time will be 30 minutes. Please place all your belongings underneath the seat in front of you or to the overhead lockers, ensuring the aisle is clear in case of an emergency. Once you are seated, please fasten your seatbelt securely.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Before we proceed with the safety demonstration, please ensure all portable electronic devices are in a flight-safe mode and the cabin crew must be informed immediately if any electronic device is damaged, hot, produces smoke, is lost or falls into the seat structure. My name is Chelsey and I'm your chief flight attendant today. I am on board for your comfort but primarily for your safety. May I now have your attention as we demonstrate our safety procedures and equipment. The emergency exits and brace position to be adopted in the event of an emergency are shown on the safety card, which is in the seat pocket in front of you. In the unlikely event of evacuation, proceed immediately to your nearest exit. The exits on board are located 2 in front of
Starting
the cabin,
engine
1
one.
either side, and 2 over wing exits, 1 either side in the middle of the cabin. Please take a moment to locate the nearest exit, which may be behind you. If you are instructed to leave the aircraft urgently, the emergency floor guidance system will guide you to the nearest exit. You must leave all your belongings behind. The seatbelt is fastened, adjusted and unfastened like this. Your life jacket is under your seat. If required,
Starting
remove the
engine
jacket
two.
from this container and pass it over your head. Cross the tapes at the back and tie it underneath the jacket in a double knot. Do not inflate until you are outside the aircraft. The jacket is inflated by pulling the red toggle downwards. Should it need more air, blow into this tube. It has a light and a whistle. We also carry children's flotation equipment. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure that your seatbelts are fastened, tray tables and seats are upright with the armrest down, and hand luggage is placed under the seat in front of you. May we remind you that we operate a non-smoking policy. We wish you a pleasant flight.
Now to do the control check. For left, for right, up, down, rudder left and right, control check complete. So, doing my very best to remember the airport chart, it was long Echo and then we're looking for Alpha and then follow that all the way around, and that should take us to the runway. Both our departure and our arrival airports are provided by the excellent UK2000. I will put a link to them in the description below. So I have a few things to do before we are ready for actual takeoff, and the first one of those is we need to set the heading to the runway heading, so that will be 060 for runway 6. So as you can see, we are approaching Echo 2 and then we should be able to go left on Alpha. We just need to check there are no planes on Alpha already. Right's clear, so now we can join Alpha. I have flown in and out of Edinburgh Airport quite a few times, so it's probably one of the main airports that I know roughly where I'm going. As for our destination airport today, Newcastle, I have a confession to make. I've only flown there once, so getting from the runway along the taxiways to the stand could be quite interesting. Flaps are now set for takeoff. This is likely to be our last Scottish airport for a while, as we're now venturing into England, so we'll have quite a few airports to do there, and probably we'll go into Wales as well. We may return here in the future, it depends. I think initially I said it was going to be an 18-leg journey, could well be 21, it depends. I'm going to add a couple more destinations as the passengers have requested it, so who am I to say no? As you can see, we're just going past the fire station on the left hand side. It's quite a long taxiway on the way to the runway. Seems fairly quiet. Hopefully we will get a straight out departure. Travelling along at this speed, it seems to take an absolute age to get anywhere. I'm pretty sure that the maximum taxi speed is about 20 knots, but that may be dependent on the aircraft that you're flying. Now, I don't think I've forgotten to do anything. I've got no warning lights, but you know, you get the horrible feeling that you've forgotten to do something, but you can't remember what it is. Well, it's definitely not fuel, and flight plan's loaded. Yeah, I guess I'll find out soon enough. Well, now that the tarmac has changed colour, I'm guessing that we are about halfway down the taxiway. Looking at the instruments, I've set the autopilot for an initial climb of 5,000 feet, and we will be climbing at about 1,200 feet per minute. Right, we are coming towards the end of the taxiway, finally. Passengers are very quiet. I guess they're just happy to be going on to our next destination. And we'll soon need to contact Tower for permission for takeoff. I've just seen something out of the window. Things may not go quite according to plan. Approaching runway 6. And contact Tower.
Edinburgh Tower, Abra is 1746 at runway 6, ready for departure, IFR to Newcastle.
Tapburst 1746, hold short, runway 6, traffic is Airbus A319, on final.
Hold short, runway 6, Abra is 1746.
Yep, no straight out departure for us today. Yeah, I saw a plane on approach, so I'm not surprised we're going to have to be held for a while. Well, hopefully we won't be kept too long. As you can see, the plane is approaching quite quickly, so it's not far away. See what sort of plane it is. Now, who uses Airbuses and flies into Edinburgh Airport? Could be British Airways. Yep, looks like I guessed right. Well, we can see it land. So now we've just got to wait until the aircraft departs the runway onto the taxiway before Tower will give us clearance to join the runway. Hopefully there's no other planes on approach. I flew out Manchester once and had to wait 15 minutes before I got permission to take off due to the sheer amount of traffic. Following a comment from one of my previous videos, I'm going to turn on the instrument lights so you can see the dials a bit clearer, so thank you for the feedback, really appreciate it. Right, it shouldn't be too long now.
Tapburst 1746, cleared for takeoff, runway 6, service wind 004, entry.
Okay, we've got clearance, and acknowledge.
Clear for takeoff, runway 6, Abra is 1746. Over 2121.75, Speedbird 1442, goodbye.
Taxi light off and landing lights on. I think we're ready to go. So from boarding the plane, get the passengers on, to take off, about 14.5 minutes. That's not too shabby. As we have pretty nice weather this morning, I'm going to give you a wing view of the takeoff, and you can enjoy the sights and the sounds of this wonderful aircraft.
First 1746. Contact Edinburgh departure on 121.2.
Contact Edinburgh departure on 121.2. Average 1746. Thanks for the help. Bye.
Gears up, flaps up. Contacting Edinburgh departure.
Edinburgh departure. Average 1746 is climbing through 1,700 for altitude 11,000.
Average 1746, Edinburgh departure, roger. Altimeter 305 Average 1746, turn right, heading 180, proceed on course. Climb and maintain altitude 11,000.
Turn right, heading 180, proceed on course. Climb altitude 11,000. Average 1746.
Now I don't want to engage the autopilot just yet. I want to get our course correct and then engage the autopilot. So now we are circling round to the right, and with a bit of luck we will see Edinburgh Airport on her right hand side. And of course the tighter the turn, the more likely we are to lose altitude, so I'm a bit mindful of that. Initially we were cleared to 5,000, so we should be okay. As you can see, we are pretty much now on course, and it's highlighted in pink or purple, so I'm happy to engage the autopilot. So that's one of the most dangerous phases out of the way, and we can let the autopilot do its work. And there, in all its glory, is Edinburgh Airport, so we're going the right way. Just passing 5,000 feet. So some facts about today's destination, and we'll start off with Newcastle Airport. This airport handles just over 5 million passengers per year and is the 10th largest and fastest growing regional airport in the UK. Carriers include Aer Lingus Regional, Air France, BMI Regional, BA, Eastern Airways, EasyJet, Emirates, Flybe, Jet2, KLM, Ryanair and recently Tapas Airways. Newcastle upon Tyne is, in both an economic as well as a cultural sense, the capital of the northeast of England. This industrial city stands on the River Tyne, its centre processing many noteworthy Victorian buildings and streets, as well as 3 large shopping centres. It's also popular for many interesting museums and entertainment facilities, including the prestigious Theatre Royal and City Hall, a popular venue for rock and pop concerts. Once an important coal port, the harbour area is now a busy passenger terminus for ferries and cruise ships to Europe, as well as for boat trips around the city. The city is believed to be the coldest major city in England, but it is also one of the driest. Newcastle Central Station was the first covered train station in the world, and it was opened in 1850 by none other than Queen Victoria herself. Believe it or not, before all passengers had to brave the elements while they waited for their train. The station is today one of only 6 Grade 1 listed railway stations in the UK. Places to visit include the Victoria Tunnel. This is a fascinating underground tourist attraction which is 2.5 miles long, and it runs beneath the city from the town mall down to the Tyne. The tunnel opened in 1842 as a wagonway to transport coal from the colliery to the riverside jetties, and a large section can be seen by guided tour. In nearby Gateshead we have the Angel of the North. With its prime location on a panoramic hilltop by the A1, the Angel of the North has become one of the most famous artworks in the region. The sculpture was installed in February 1998, and over the last 20 years has become one of the most recognisable pieces of public art ever produced, winning many accolades and awards. It wouldn't be a visit to Newcastle without catching a glimpse of the castle to which Newcastle owes its name. Newcastle Castle and Keep dates back to 1178 and is one of the finest examples of Norman stone in Britain. Originally, the site was occupied by a Roman fort and settlement known as Pons Aelius. The new stone castle keep we see today was built in the early 12th century by William II, with the new Black Gate later added. Many city tours will take you to the keep and allow you to access its turrets where you can admire views across the city. There are also wide-ranging event programs to suit all ages, which includes everything from guided visits to reenactments and exhibitions to film screenings, theatre performances and murder mystery plays. And a couple of fun facts about Newcastle. Newcastle Brown Ale is a proud produce of Newcastle, but it's also America's most imported British ale. The faithful windscreen wiper was invented in Newcastle by a Newcastle United fan as he drove home in a storm from the cup final match in 1908.
Towers 1746, contact Scottish Control Point 119.875.
And acknowledge.
Over 2119.875, Towers 17465. Scottish Control Towers 1746 is at 10,300, climbing altitude 11,000.
Towers 1746, Scottish Control, roger, altimeter 3053.
The seatbelt sign has been turned off. You are free to move about the cabin. However, we encourage you to remain seated with your belts fastened at all times in case of unexpected turbulence.
Towers 1746, climb altitude 13,000.
It is now safe for you to use your portable electronic devices.
Climb and maintain altitude 13,000. Towers 1746.
So it looks like ATC have granted my request and have cleared us to 13,000 rather than the 17,000 we were initially given. Just look at that view. That's what the passenger's been paying me all that money for all of these years.
Speedbird 1308, descend and maintain 2,800.
Oh, I nearly forgot. Those messages were brought to you by the Newcastle Tourism Board. And that was hard reading all that stuff out. I'm definitely not a newsreader. So, we've got just over 1,000 feet to go before we reach our cruising altitude. This would normally be where I'll ask Chelsey for a cheeky cuppa. Unfortunately the kettle is broken. I know, multi-million-dollar plane and a £3.99 kettle has stopped us from having beverages today. First thing I'm going to do when I land in Newcastle is go to Argos and buy a kettle. And for those of you who don't know, Argos is like a catalogue type store where you can buy everything. Time for me to do my captain bit again.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from the flight deck. We are cruising at 13,000 feet with a ground speed of around 215 miles per hour. Time-wise, we should have you at the stand in about 40 minutes past the hour. Weather in Newcastle at the moment is 11 degrees Celsius with a few clouds and pretty good visibility. We do hope you enjoyed this flight with Tappers Airways and certainly hope we can be a further service to you again in the very near future. On behalf of myself and the whole crew, we'd just like to wish you a safe onward journey from the airport. Thank you.
So right now there's not that much for me to do apart from enjoy the cruise myself and keep an eye on the instruments, of course. The scenery that we're using today is provided by ORBX, so that's ORBX England and ORBX Scotland.
Jersey 7324, contact Manchester Control Point 118.775. 118.775 for Jersey 7324. Tappers 1746, descend altitude 3,000.
We weren't in the cruise for very long, so we need to descend to 3000.
3 miles northwest, turn left heading 075, descend and maintain altitude 3000, expect vectors ILS, runway 25, approach.
So we are landing on runway 25 and turning left to 075.
075, descend altitude 3000, expect vectors ILS, runway 25, approach, Amber 1746.
So I now need to set to heading mode and descent rate of about 1200 feet per minute. This aircraft is pretty well designed for this tour. Most of the flights are not that long. However, yeah, it lacks a few creature comforts, but there is a fundraiser going on at the moment for, how can I put it, a bigger plane.
East 2685, York 5, 3 miles south, turn left heading 300, climb and maintain altitude 16,000, expect vectors ILS, runway 6, approach. East 2685, turn left heading 300, descend altitude 8,000. Turn left heading 300, descend altitude 8,000, expect vectors ILS, runway 6, approach. East 2685.
As you can see from our flight radar, there's quite a few planes up here, certainly on the right hand side. And so far it has been a pretty smooth flight. I just hope that the approach is the same. We still have pretty good visibility, so let's check our weather at our destination. Need to tune the radio to 122.025.
Echo Golf November Tango Airport information Golf 1220 Zulu weather wind 171 at 4 visibility 10 sky clear temperature 15 dew point 4 QNH 1034 advise on initial contact that you have information Golf Echo Golf November Tango Airport
Control to me, Bird 1482 is leaving 17,800 for altitude 16,000. Speedbird 1482, Scottish Control, Roger.
A wind speed of just 4 knots, so very light. Visibility of 10 miles and clear skies. I'd say that's just about perfect. Need to turn the landing lights on and seatbelts on.
2685, turn right heading 330. Turn right heading 330, easy 2685.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the seatbelt sign. Please return to your seat and refasten your seatbelt.
Welcome back. We're just passing through 7,000 feet and it will shortly be the business end of the flight. So we are now receiving the signal from Newcastle Airport.
UK2000 contact Edinburgh approach on 121.2. Overview 121.2, easy 26855, Jersey 7324, contact Manchester Control on 118.775. Overview 118.775, Jersey 7324.
We now need just 8 more people to become members of the Tappers Airways loyalty scheme, as we're currently on 92. If this is your first flight with us, please do consider liking and subscribing and help me to get to the goal of 100 Tappers Airways members. That'd be pretty awesome. And if we do get to that significant milestone for me, I will be making a special 100 subscriber special video. Not quite sure what it's going to be yet, but I've got a few ideas. Also, if you didn't catch the special bonus video I did, I didn't publicise it, so it was an additional one between the last leg and this one. I'll give you a little link and maybe you can let me know what you think. It was just a one-off, but maybe I'll do more. It depends on the sort of reaction I get. I'm quite surprised at the number of views the bonus video has got, as I said, because considering I haven't publicised it anywhere. And before things get too hectic here in the flight deck, got a quick question for future videos. Are you happy for me to continue to do the full flight video, or would you like me to? I can cut some bits out if you wish. It's funny that every video I've done, they all end up being roughly 45 to 50 minutes, no matter how long the flight is. So I think we have got some longer flights coming. But yeah, if you have got any suggestions, please feel free to comment below. Just over 1,000 feet to go before we reach 3,000 feet. Need to keep an eye on airspeed as well. Getting a little bit high. We do have a few planes on the flight radar around the airport, so I am hoping he says, that we get a straight in approach and we don't get held up having to circle around waiting for permission to land.
Flight 4802, you're turning 1 mile northeast, turn right heading 025, descend and maintain 9,300, expect vectors ILS, runway 25, approach. Flight 4802, turn left heading 130, descend altitude 2000. Turn left heading 130, descend altitude 2000, expect vectors ILS, runway 25, approach. Flight 4802.
So as you heard, there is another plane that's on approach. I think he's 31 miles away. He's higher altitude than me, but he will be a lot faster, so he may well land before we do. So it's just a case of keeping an eye on our radar screens. We have got the aircraft proximity warning as well. They get within 3 miles or 5 miles, you will hear the traffic warning. So just something that we need to be mindful of. Looking at this weather outside, I'm thinking, is this the best weather we've ever had? It might well be. It's very, very clear. I think we had a flight in the summer, but I'm pretty sure that was more bumpy than this.
Flight 4802, you are 26 miles northeast, turn right heading 220, descend and maintain altitude 2000, cleared ILS, runway 25, approach, maintain altitude 2000 until established on the localizer, contact Newcastle Tower on 119.7. Turn right heading 220, descend and
So that plane is now 26 miles away and he's already been cleared to 2000. So he's closing on us pretty fast. Taking a look at the flight radar, yep, there he is there, and he's in front of us, so he's definitely going to land first. We just got to be careful we don't get too close to him. Of course, we're still waiting to be cleared to 2000, so I'm just going to set the autopilot. I'm not going to engage it just yet. As we're now over water, I'm hoping that ATC will ask us to turn right to begin our approach very, very shortly. Now these guys in ATC, they don't seem to be, how can I put it, the best in the world. They like making you go the long way round, so a 30-minute flight becomes a 45 or 50-minute flight. But hey, shouldn't moan, we'd be lost without them.
1746, turn right heading 130. Turn right heading 130, Amber is 1746.
Ah, they must have heard me. Well, here we go, so turning right to 130.
Amber 1746, turn right heading 160.
Turning right 160.
Turn right heading
And
160,
acknowledge.
Amber is 1746. Amber 1746, contact Newcastle approach on 124.375. 124.375, Amber is 1746, goodbye.
Contacting Newcastle approach.
1746 with you.
Amber 1746 Newcastle approach. Roger. Altimeter 3053.
Considering it's late February, the weather is almost spring-like. That east flight plane is still in front of us, I can see on the flight radar. We don't seem to be closing in on it though, so we should be okay. So now it's just a case of waiting for ATC to give us clearance for our descent to 2000 initially, and then to line up with the ILS. I've tried to keep our speed up as much as possible, so I haven't extended the flaps yet. So from looking at the flight radar, that other plane is at about 2,300 feet, so I'm guessing he will soon be given permission for landing, and then hopefully it will be our turn.
Amber 1746, you are 17 miles northeast, turn right heading 220, descend altitude 2000, cleared ILS, runway 25, approach, maintain altitude 2000 until established on the localizer. Contact Newcastle Tower on 119.7.
Turn right heading 220, descend altitude 2000, cleared ILS, runway 25, approach, maintain altitude 2000 until established. Tower on 119.7, Amber is 1746. Newcastle Tower, Amber is 1746, is 16 miles northeast, inbound ILS, runway 25, approach.
Amber 1746, Newcastle Tower, continue, runway 25, altimeter 3054.
Continued approach, runway 25, Amber is 1746.
So, at last, we have permission to descend to 2,000 feet, and I've already extended the flaps, so that will slow us down for our approach And the approach speed I want is about 140, but at this stage 180 to 160 is what I'm looking at. So the other plane is in front of us, as you can see, and it's beginning his descent. So he's going to land. Hopefully he can clear the runway, and then we will have permission to land as well. We don't really want to go around. Now levelling out at 2,000 feet.
Flight 4802, cleared to land, runway 25. Cleared to land, runway 25. Flight 4802.
And as you just heard, the east flight has been given permission to land. Approach speed of about 190. I need to cut that by 20 to 30 knots pretty shortly. No warning indicators. The speed is now beginning to decrease. .170 knots. I can't see the airport just yet. I think it will be visible about 10 nautical miles out. Capturing the ILS, as you can see by the little green ball that's moving to the right. We can now hit approach mode. According to the primary flight display, we are lined up on the ILS, just waiting now to capture the glide slope. And I can just see the airport in the far distance, so it's looking good so far. Glide slope is now becoming active. As you can see, the little green ball is moving downwards, so we should be given permission to land any minute now.
Dabbers 1746, cleared to land, runway 25, followed on short final.
There we go,
Cleared to land.
and
Runway
acknowledge.
25, Dabbers 1746, Newcastle Tower, speed bird 1333 at runway 25, ready for departure, IFR.
Gear down,
Speedbird 1333, hold short.
3 green.
Runway 25, traffic is on the runway.
Hold short, runway 25, speed bird 1333.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now about to land. Please remain seated until the seatbelt sign has been turned off.
We have a British Airways plane waiting to take off to Heathrow, but they're going to have to wait for us. So I'm now just going to go quiet while I concentrate on the landing, and I'm hoping for no whiplash injuries this time.
Flight 4802, contact ground on 121.725. 121.725, East Flight 4802.
Welcome to Newcastle. I think that qualifies as one of my better landings. Who knows, I might be getting the hang of this. No broken bones or lawsuits. Pretty good. I decided not to use the reversers on this flight. There is one airport that is coming up in the series where I will definitely have to use them though. I wonder if you can guess which airport that is. I believe the taxiway should be up here on the right. Guess you didn't look at the airport chart for Newcastle before departure. Yeah, me. That British Airways pilot must be getting pretty frustrated waiting for me as I'm sauntering down the runway looking for the taxiway. Ah, here we go. I'm expecting ATC to give the BA pilot clearance as soon as I vacate the runway.
Average 1746. Contact ground on 121.725. Speedbird 1. Tree. Cleared for takeoff. Runway 25. Surface wind 17. Treated 4.
Cleared for takeoff. Runway 25. Speedbird 1. Tree.
Yeah, I thought as much. Well, Speedbird 1333, enjoy your flight to Heathrow.
725. Average 1746. Bye-bye.
So we need to ask Newcastle Ground whereabouts they want us to park.
Newcastle Ground, Tabbers 1746, request taxi to stand. Tabbers 1746, taxi to stand code 1, using taxiway Bravo Alpha.
Stand 21 via Bravo and Alpha.
Taxiing
And
to
acknowledge.
stand code 1, using taxiway Bravo Alpha. Tabbers
We
1746.
can turn on the taxi lights and turn off the landing lights. Now I believe Alpha is just up on the right hand side and 21 is towards the end on the right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Newcastle. Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the aircraft comes to a complete stop and the seatbelt sign is switched off. Before leaving the aircraft, please ensure you have all items of personal hand luggage, checking your seat pockets, the overhead lockers and also the area around your seat. Do take care when opening the overhead lockers as items may have moved in flight. Please continue to observe the non-smoking sign. May I remind you that within accordance with UK law, smoking is not permitted within any public buildings. Please take care when disembarking the aircraft steps as they may be slippery and narrower than you are used to. The handrail should be used, hand luggage held securely and any passengers with small children should hold their hands. Mobile phones and portable electronic devices may be used in aircraft mode once the doors have been opened. On behalf of Captain Tappers and myself, we hope you've enjoyed your flight with us today and we look forward to welcoming you on board Tappers Airways again soon. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.
I think I'm going to have to renegotiate our landing fees. I know I'm a new airline, but they always seem to stick me right at the end in the furthest one away from the actual terminal. This should be stand 21 and there's no bus, so passengers are going to have to walk to the terminal. So another flight successfully completed. Time to commence shutdown procedures. All switches set to off positions.
Goodbye. Thank you. Have a nice trip.
Shutdown procedures complete.
Captain, all passengers have left the plane.
Right, I'm off to Argos to buy this kettle. I would just like to say thank you for being on board with us today. Our next flight we will be going to Belfast, and I hope that you can join us for that too. Until then, take care.